Welcome back, everybody. And again, I apologize for cutting off the better part of my head. Little joke there. But I want to have these two stars of the show in the view of the camera. So today's video is going to be a viewpoint / discussion video, not a demo. So we're going to clear that up right up front. There's going to be no playing, no demoing. For those of you that want to hear these guitars, I have videos on the channel of both where they're plugged in and demoed. This video, again, is simply a viewpoint. And the viewpoint here is, do looks matter with respect to owning a guitar or purchasing a guitar? Now, that's kind of a loaded gun question, and it pertains to both guitars and relationships, right? I mean, let's face it. How often do you see that gorgeous woman walking down a street alongside what you might define as a not so desirable guy? And you're thinking to yourself, how the hell did that guy get that woman? Or vice versa, where you see a tall, strapping, good-looking guy with a not-so-good-looking woman, and you think to yourself again, how did these two ever match up? And with relationships as well as guitars, there are a lot of things that come into play in the assessment and overall decision of your respective mates, and in this case, your respective guitars, right? Could be looks that are the overall driving, deciding factor. It may be, in more cases than not, personality, right? How compatible people are. Are they, quote-unquote, soulmates? Do they get along? Right? That's real important. And over the long haul of your relationship, that's probably the most important part of the relationship, because as they say, looks fade, right? And then there's the third piece, which is the emotional bond or compatibility with that person, or in this case, the instrument. Now, let's talk about all three of these things, right? Looks, personality, and I'll equate that to a guitar, and emotional bond / compatibility. What drove me to buy these two not so conventional instruments, right? And I'll be honest with you. Upon first glance of both of these guitars, they're not something that I would say, wow, I gotta have that guitar, right? In fact, at some point in time, and some, differences, or at some periods of time, that's the word I'm looking for, I might even say to myself, man, that's ugly, or man, that's ugly, right? But yet I bought them. And I'll tell you the reason why. And what I'd like to know is your opinion on the topic, if looks matter when purchasing a guitar. So let's talk about both of these guitars. And they're two good examples of my collection, because they have, very different and not, the usual guitar shapes that we come across. So first off, here we go. This is the Squier Jazzmaster. Now, both of these guitars are not expensive items, right? They're both under $500. List price, this is under $500. List price, this is just slightly over $500, $599 or something like that, $699. So in any event, they're not high-end guitars, right? Squier is the economy brand, import brand for Fender. Sterling by Music Man. Sterling is the economy brand for Music Man, right? Both guitars are made overseas. This guitar happens to be made, being the Sterling, happens to be made in Indonesia. This guitar happens to be made in China. Okay, so they're both import guitars. But let's talk about this guy first, which is the Squier, right? This is part of their Paranormal series of guitars, and that kind of gives it away, right? It's not your traditional guitar. There are things that are different, that are not quite normal or usual with the type of guitar that it is. Now, upon first glance with this guitar, you might think that bashing my headstock, you might think that these are soap bar P90 pickups. And I'm telling you right now, they are not. These are single coil Alnico pickups that are part of the Jazzmaster line from Squier, right? They have a little bit of a different sound, and they look a hell of a lot like a soap bar P90, right? We'll get to in a minute. You can see it right there on this guitar, but they're not. And the shape on this guitar is an offset. So, you know, it definitely has neck dive, I'll tell you that right now, because this headstock is a challenge to work with. It's huge. The hockey stick headstock. Well, that's a tongue twister. And the body is a different kind of a shape. Now, why did I buy this guitar? I just got done saying when I looked at it initially, I didn't think it was necessarily a beautiful piece to have in my collection, or even a desirable piece, or a body style that I would gravitate towards. I bought it because it has 12 strings. It has a very comfortable glossed neck, which on this guitar, it works for me. And as you all know, 12-string electric guitars, you don't have many choices on the market, right? I'm certainly not at a point where I'm going to buy a Rickenbacker 12-string. And a lot of the others I've read reviews on that are available didn't get fantastic reviews. This guitar got pretty solid reviews and said it had that chime and that, you know, that real Rickenbacker ring to it, or 12-string electric ring to it, which is what I was going for, because I didn't have any such guitar in my collection. And that's the reason I bought this, and I'm happy I bought it. I like this guitar a lot from a playability standpoint, right? There are things other than looks, just like relationships with people, that come into play here. So, looks, not so much on this guitar. What drove me to it, or attracted me to it, was the personality, and the personality being the uniqueness of a 12-string electric guitar that was affordable. The sound. I didn't have any guitar in my collection that had this kind of ring that you can get from a 12-string electric guitar, right? Uniqueness. Well, you don't see too many Jazzmasters that are 12 strings, right? Most of them have 6 strings and have that crazy little control up here for the pickups and have the bridge on it, right? The extended bridge that you find on these guitars. They don't really quite look like this, nor do they have 12 strings. And do I have an emotional bond with this guitar? I absolutely do, right? That's important also, because there are some guitars that look fantastic, right? That are real lookers that you just don't bond with. This thing, again, the neck is extremely good for me, right? It's very, very comfortable. It's not a thick neck. It's not super, super flat or thin. It has a little bit of a gloss, not a lot, just a little bit of a gloss on the back of the neck that I find really, really comfortable. And it feels good to the hand. And I just like picking this thing up and strumming it and getting that, 12-string sound out of the guitar. I enjoy playing it. So, the reason I bought this guitar: personality, 12 strings, emotional bond, comfortable, love playing it, just feels good. Feels good being with it. And that is the Squire Jazzmaster Paranormal 12-string. Similarly, this guy comes into play. And it's also another instance where it wasn't love at first sight, right? This shape, I call it a Jetsons style guitar. Futuristic, different, whatever you want to call it, pointy, I don't know. But it has a body shape that, for a lot of people, is not appealing, right? Again, first glance, I didn't go out and say, I have to have that guitar. I really have to have it. But, like this guitar, looks did not drive me to this guitar, right? Did not attract me to this guitar. Personality did, right? And the personality on this particular guitar is that I was looking for a P90 guitar that was a little bit different, right? I've had P90s in the past. I didn't get along with them for one or another reason. This guitar, I said, okay, it's got P90s on it. I've had really good experience with Sterling by Music Man guitars. I like the fact that they have a somewhat narrower neck and, not a thick neck. I like the 4x2 configuration on the headstock, which is somewhat unique, right? And I said, okay, this is something that I wanna give it a shot. And I'm really glad I did, because it's one of the most comfortable guitars that I currently have in my collection. I've had it a short time, grant you, but it is really, really comfortable. It doesn't have much of a neck dive. The body shape, albeit it's not the most attractive, is very, very comfortable. It's a light guitar, and the neck is just really, really great in the hand. So, personality. I'm calling the personality, the neck feel of the guitar, the sound of these P90 pickups. Just like on this guitar, I love the feel of the neck and the sound of the 12-string, right? I really like that and the uniqueness of this guitar. And it is unique because there are not too many guitars out there that look like this thing. I'll be honest with you. Maybe it's considered beautiful to some. It might be considered ugly to others. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. But it is unique, if nothing else. And the cuts on the guitar here, the arm cut here on the front, the belly carve on the back, the sculpting on the base of the neck, all lend itself to comfort. And that's my emotional bond with this guitar, right? I have it just like I have with the Squier. I have an emotional bond because it's comfortable in my hand. It's comfortable on my body. We bond. The two pieces, the guitar and me, come together as one. Boy, that's corny, right? But I enjoy playing it. That's the bottom line. It's comfortable to my hands. I love the way these P90 pickups sound, to my ears at least, my old aging ears. And again, there is a bond with me and this particular Albert Lee, right? This is the Albert Lee by Sterling by Music Man AL40 model. I also like the look of this dark roasted maple neck on the back. And it's a satin neck, unlike this one that has that slight gloss finish to it. And on this guitar, it really works. It's a satin neck, but it has a slight, I don't know if it's a gloss or smoothness to it, but it's just very, very comfortable, nice looking neck, right? I like these pearlized tuners on the guitar. You don't see too much, and they work fantastic. So there are certain things that are unique on the guitar: the body shape, the pearlized tuners, the P90 pickups, right, with this body shape, right, and the pearlized pickguard. It's a different looking guitar, and I just love the sound of it. And again, I didn't break the bank because neither one of these guitars are, high-end guitars. They're what we call on this channel and channels like this channel, budget guitars. Now, are they low-end budget guitars like some of the guitars I review, which are the sub-$200 guitars and in some cases $100 guitars? No, because this is slightly more money. We're talking about sub-$600, sub-$500 guitars. But if you want to call them mid-tier budget guitars, you can do that. But in any event, they are different in both cases. They're unique in both cases. And they feel good to my hands, which is all I need to check the boxes and say, yeah, I want these in my arsenal. I enjoy playing them, and I'm glad I bought them. So that's my story, guys, and I'm sticking to it. Do you agree that in all cases, looks don't matter with buying a guitar? That's my overall assessment from this video and my experience with these two guitars. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Do you like these videos? If you do, guys, please subscribe. Please share. If you have any questions on either one of these, put them in the comments. I'll do my best to address them as quickly as possible. And until the next one, be well. See you soon. Take care.